Are y'all ready? It's time. Woo! Good evening and welcome to Moments with Mama Sue. I could hardly wait for y'all to get here. Let me tell you, all day long, I've been excited. All day long, I've been waiting and just so excited about this evening's episode because guess what? It's my anniversary. Yes, this is the anniversary. We are celebrating. Can you believe it? Yes, we are celebrating 4 years of being on the air. It was April of 2020 that we started with Moments with Mama Sue. And some of you have been with me every step of the way. Y'all remember when I first started, and Lord bless my heart, I was cutting my head off. I was disappearing in the middle of the broadcast, and y'all would have to come back in. And ooh, we have had a journey, but here we are, still with it 4 years later. And I have to say, faithfully and consistently live every first and third Monday of every month for 4 years. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yes. So it's been wonderful and it's been such a joy and such a thrill to share with all of you. Got to give a shout out to those of you who are watching right now. Before we get in too deep, go ahead and like and share this because it's going to be phenomenal. I promise you, you are going to want to rewatch this episode over and over again because it's going to be all kinds of fun. So we're giving a shout to everybody that's on here with us in real time. Brenda and Lori and Patricia and Janice and oh my goodness, everybody that's watching. Be sure to like and share. And then we also have to give a shout out to our WJIL.today family, those of you that will watch us in replay, because that is so awesome. You'll be able to watch Moments with Mama Sue Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 3 a.m., 10 a.m., and 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WJIL.today. Gospel radio, Roku, and Fire Stick TV. So, listen, I appreciate wherever you are tuning in and whenever you are tuning in that you are just sharing this and enjoying the positive conversations. And I do believe that God is up to something. So I appreciate you watching and I appreciate you rolling with me for all of these years on this platform and giving me a chance to introduce some wonderful people I know to some other wonderful people I know. And Mama Sue's family has just grown by leaps and bounds. And I am just so appreciative. I am so grateful and thankful that you all find value and y'all make me feel so good tuning in week after week. I can almost guess who's going to be on here right at the outset, and it just blesses me beyond compare. So, hugs, hugs, hugs to you all, and lots of love for all the love that you all show to me. I appreciate it so much because this could not happen without you. It could not happen without you. Now, on tomorrow, you know, you'll be able to catch me where I'll always be on the first Tuesday of every month. I'll be at the Southeast Senior Center here in Midland, Texas, where we have a senior sing along. And baby, I am really on that curl. And if y'all have not heard me playing the piano, that is your golden moment. You can tune in on my Facebook page around 10:30-ish. I usually go live from the center and give you a chance to hear those vivacious seniors singing and enjoying the music. So guys, tune in with us. We would love to have you. People have watched us as far away as Germany. Yes, they be tuning in from Germany, from California, just random people tuning in and enjoying the seniors singing such positive and uplifting praises. So don't you miss the opportunity to be a part of that. And then I invite you to come on and roll with me because, look, the latter part of this month, April the 19th, I will be in Lubbock, Texas, at the St. John Baptist Church's Pastoral Appreciation Banquet. And I'm so excited that they invited me. Every time I get an opportunity to share anywhere with anyone, I just feel so honored that they thought of me and thought that what I had to offer would be valuable for what they were doing. So I will be there. And also, I will be with the West Texas chapter. You know, that's my heart. I'll be with them on May the 4th. We're having a memory lane concert. And oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how exciting that's going to be. We're going to be singing songs from the past that are still a blast. Did y'all catch that? Songs from the past that are still a blast. And you're going to be blessed. So I want you, I'm going to put that visual back up. I want you to go ahead now and secure your tickets. It's only $10. What can you get for $10? You sure can go to Carl Jr.'s and get a whole meal for $10 or Chick-fil-A. So I invite you to grab a ticket for the Memory Lane concert. You can get it from me or any West Texas chapter member, or you can go to our ticket venue at Roy Nelson State Farm. That's at 910 West Wall Street, Midland, Texas. I'm the chapter rep, and I always want to sell the most tickets. So I need y'all to hit me up. Y'all can, if you want to, you can slide on into my DM and let me know, Mama Sue, I need like 25 tickets, or I need 13, whatever your number is, or I need one. Just let me know and I will make that available to you. If you want to sponsor and just buy some tickets and be a blessing to somebody, we can do that too. Whatever you want to do. because we got it like that. But the main thing is to recognize that we have an opportunity to support something that is so positive and so good in our community. So we want you to come along and be a part of all of that. Now, with that said, I have one more event that I'm going to be doing on this weekend. I will be in Brownwood, Texas. You heard it right. Brownwood, Texas, with the Christ Disciples Women's Retreat. And we'll be out in nature just sharing. They have a wonderful theme. God is still writing your story. God is still writing your story. And I've been invited to be the keynote speaker. If you're interested and you say, Mama, so I didn't know about that, I would like to go to Brownwood and be out in nature and experience the retreat. Well, again, hit me up in my DM. Just slide on in there and say, tell me more about the retreat, because it's not too late to even register and attend now. It's going to be so much fun. And I have been praying about it and studying and asking God to give me what to say as a keynote speaker and what to share. So I can promise you that God has been faithful. And I think that what I have to share will be beneficial and a blessing. And then there are so many other activities that will be a part of the weekend. So you will just enjoy it, being away from the rat race and getting to enjoy that beautiful retreat center and kind of, push the reset button and get back to feeling calm and, yeah, kind of decompress a little bit. So let me know if you're interested, and I'll be able to share more information with you. Now, while you're liking and sharing, because tonight we have a phenomenal guest on with us for this first episode of our anniversary edition. But while you are liking and sharing, be sure to put in the comments section if it's your very first time visiting with us, because I go back through every episode. I promise you I do. And I've been doing it for 4 years, looking at all the comments and reading everything that everybody had to say in case I missed anything. And I always send a little something, something special to everybody that's viewing and watching for the very first time, because I appreciate you making time to be with me. And I just want you to have a little something. So just tell me in the chat, it's my first time, and we'll make connection and do that. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all hang tight, because after this, it's going to be on and happening, and I'm going to bring my special guest to the screen. So y'all hang with me right after this.
It's beyond entertainment. It's an experience. Book Mama Sue Roseberry today.
And it's worthy. Woo! Yes, he's a great God. And he's so great because he has even allowed little old me to rub elbows with some of the most amazing and incredibly gifted people in the whole wide world. I am so fortunate tonight to have I feel like a giant among women, because she has done so many things in her life, in her career. Tammy Taylor is president and CEO of One Entity in Nashville, Tennessee. That's a full service entertainment consulting firm. She attended Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis, where she majored in organizational communication and minored in business. That's just the long way of saying that she really got it going on, y'all. She knows how to do many things all at one and the same time. She's able to multitask. I met her years ago through the Church of God in Christ as she worked with the artists in that realm, bringing all of the great talent to the Kojic national, international conventions, and our paths have crossed numerous times across the industry, but every time I am in awe of just how amazingly gifted, talented she is. She can sing to y'all. We're going to talk all about all of the stuff that she does, but most incredibly, how humble she is and what a sweet individual she is. So I want you to give a great big welcome to my special guest tonight, Miss Tammy Taylor.
Hey, Mama Sue.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
I am blessed and thankful to be here.
Ooh, well, how is the weather in Nashville today?
Well, it's been cloudy, but it's been in the 70s, so it's a good thing.
Ah, well, I am so excited. I'm beyond excited. I'm trying to hold myself down because I said, Lord, Tammy said, yes, she would come and be on Moments with Mama Sue. Number one, that you would even agree to come because you're so, oh, you are big in my eyes. And then the second thing, that you would even have time because you are such a busy woman. But thank you.
Thank you for asking me. I am glad to be here. Happy anniversary, 4 years. That's phenomenal. A lot of people don't make it 4 minutes, let alone 4 weeks. So to say that you have been consistent for 4 years, that's a blessing.
Ah, well, listen, I want to talk about who you purport yourself to the world to be because we know all of your accolades. We're going to talk about a lot of the things, but when we boil it down and we just follow you home, who is Tammy Taylor?
Tammy Taylor is just Tammy. when you when you come home, I am a homebody. I love being at home. Um, I'm out in the country now. Um, I grew up in the city. Never thought I would have a house out in the country, but yeah, and enjoy just being out here. It's so much quiet and peacefulness. So when you come home, you just get Tammy.
Ah, and when I hear that name, because I remember the first time I met you, I just thought about those songs like those movies that we used to have back in the 60s, and they had one. There was a girl named Tammy, and the song that went along with her was a Tammy, Tammy, Tammy's in love. Yeah. And so it's remarkable to me that you even have a book, and we're going to talk about that book. Uh, we're going to talk about that book about Tammy's love life or the lack thereof. But
My Lord.
let me tell you, we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, talk about how you started singing because a lot of people don't know that you are a beast vocalist.
Oh, well, thank you. I started singing as a kid. My mother and her siblings, they had a group and they would sing and they would have rehearsal every week. And so we, the kids, my cousins and everything, we would be downstairs playing. And so we started mimicking them. And one of my uncles snuck downstairs and heard us mimicking them. And he was like, "Oh, you guys are going to be a group." And so we started a group, the Holy Angels. And so we would sing, they would let us sing one or two songs before they would do their concerts. And then from there, I was singing in the church choir. One day I was in the basement cleaning, singing along to the radio like I would do. And the new minister of music was at my mother's house visiting. And she was like, "Who is that singing?" And she was like, "That's my daughter." So she made me come and go to the senior choir rehearsal. I was in the Sunshine Band, but she wanted me to sing "I Really Love the Lord" in the senior choir. And so I think I was the only kid singing in the children's choir at that point. And then I was in the mass choir. And then high school, I started following a group called Rodney Bryan and the Christian Community Mass Choir, and was blessed to travel and sing the world with them. Recorded, I think I was on 3 or 4 projects with them before I left them, but got a lot of exposure with them and with the Gospel Music Workshop of America Indianapolis chapter. And I was under the late Al the Bishop Hobbs, and I asked him would he mentor me and would he show me the business side, because I was interested in learning the business side because I was thinking about a singing career at that point. And I saw so many stories of artists that had gotten taken advantage of, money taken away, all of those kind of things. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I need to know more about the business. And so started sitting up under him, realizing that he had started a record company. The next year, he became the chairman of the board of GMWA, and I was working with him with GMWA on the national level. And then it was just like, oh, I found my niche. I'm on the business side versus the singing side. And so we kind of put the singing on the background and set it down because we were just um, more happy, I guess, for lack of a better word. But we found our niche then. So that's how we started singing. I, back in the day, I sang at weddings of people I didn't even know, bar mitzvahs, you name it, the basketball games, different conferences would come in town. So I was blessed and favored when I was singing to do a lot of singing and get a lot of opportunities that the average person wouldn't necessarily get.
Wow. Now listen, and you brought up something in there because you were tutored, if you will, or mentored by one of the greatest music minds in
Yes.
the world. He's no longer alive and with us, but that Al the Bishop Hobbs.
Hmm. He
Now,
was
if
something.
you don't know who he is or have never heard his name, then I encourage you all. Y'all, somebody put it in the chat. Al the Bishop Hobbs. Go and Google him. Google him out of Indiana, Indianapolis, because he was the one who was producing some of the greatest gospel albums at that time through Alejo Records. And for many of us, the women of worship through the Gospel Music Workshop of America came forward with Mimi Red came through and took us on under something. And it's still one of the most iconic records of all time, Order My Steps.
Yes, ma'am. Recorded live in Indianapolis. I believe that was 92 or 93.
Wow. And then under him, because you were so blessed to work with him, you learned so many tips about the industry. So that was kind of the birth of one entity.
Absolutely. People don't realize all of the things that Al did. Al was an original board member of the Indiana Black Expo, which was the largest and the oldest at that point expo in the country under the late Charles Williams. And he was the marketing director for that event every year. He created the Circle City Classic football game that still happens in the fall in Indianapolis, where they have two HBCU teams come together and play, and they have different activities, a Greek step show, a food court, dances, and all these other performances around that football game. So I learned how to do event planning. I learned how to do logistics for a conference with GMWA when he was handling all the logistics for that as the board, as a board member, as well as when he came chairman of the board. So I was blessed to be, he also had a talent competition called Star Quest, and it
Yeah.
had like about 8 different categories, from dance, singing, bands. I mean, it covered everything. And so it was a blessing to be able to be taken under his wings and learn everything that I did learn from him.
Yeah. And he had so much charisma, y'all. You had to hear his voice because he was also a radio and television personality. So he had this golden throat. He talked
Yes.
real low and deep. And yeah, yeah. He talked real deep. In fact, I had the privilege of having Al to introduce my recording that I did at the board meeting
Hmm.
in Dallas. And I think that may be one of the last things that he actually did prior to his death was the
Wow.
introduction of my recording. And I felt so honored that
Yeah.
he was able to do that, even when he got up there and called me by the wrong name. So we had to go back and bust it and do it again. But he was so funny. Al was hilarious.
Yes.
Yes, he
Yes.
was. But all of the things that you learned with him about event planning and working with artists and how to structure things and move things along, how to coordinate things. Those are things that you learned and incorporated in your business, one entity.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about one entity and all that that means right after this. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Miss Annie from way down south. She's loud, she's fun, but you'd better watch out. Put on your seatbelt and take the rollicking ride with the unpredictable Miss Annie as she whips and turns and drives straight into your heart. Own it today at www.sueroseberry.com. Woo, if you are just tuning in, tonight is the first episode of anniversary celebration for year number 4 on Moments with Mama Sue. And I am glad that you are here because I have a special guest with me all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. And she is the one, the only one, Tammy Taylor.
Hey, welcome back.
Tammy, before we went to break, we were talking about one entity.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, tell us about how you got the concept and what that actually means to artistry, because we have some artists out in the viewing audience that need to know about the things that you do.
Well, when I first started, I had moved to Nashville, and I was working with Gospel Centric Be Right. And the word of the Lord kept coming through different preachers telling me that I needed to start my own business. And I really wasn't interested. I was very happy and content being with Vicky Mack and Claude. And but I started listening. I was like, okay, let me at least start putting some consideration. If I had a company, what would I name it? I'm not going to tell you what the first name I thought of. And what did I want to do? How do I want to be positioned? And I wanted it to be a one stop shop for artists and for labels, because Gospel Centric ended up being my first client um, when I started my company. So that was a blessing. And I was sharing with a friend, and I was just like, well, I said, if a label needs a publicist, I want to be able to be a publicist for them. If they need marketing, I can do marketing because I've, been taught and trained to do that as well. And at Gospel Centric, we all shared a loop in doing radio. And I had created a church database for Gospel Centric and Be Right. So I was very well rounded. And so my friend, he says, well, what about one entity? And it just stuck, and I liked it, and it had a nice ring to it. And so that's how we came up with one entity, and where all of your music industry needs are met. We wanted to just be a one stop shop, and God has blessed us. If somebody needs production for a 1 day show, we can run the production and logistics for that. So, yeah, that's how we came up with one entity, and that's what we do. And we are here to service you. If you need radio promotions, marketing, publicity, event planning, studio singers, we cover it.
Everything, the gamut from A to Z. Now, I did not pay attention until we started getting ready for this show of how entity is written with two capital T's in it. What do that mean?
Tammy Taylor.
See, I knew it had some kind of message or meaning in there because I kept seeing it printed, and I said, and then you go EN, and then it's got a capital T, and then an I, and then another capital T and a Y. I said, I want to ask her what that means because it has to connect somehow.
Yep, I connected it with TT Tammy Taylor.
Come on now. Well, in your pursuit of being one stop shopping for artists and promoters and whoever in the industry needs your music expertise, what has been the most challenging thing that you have come across? The biggest challenge in all of that?
I'm gonna say two things. One, a lot of times artists don't have the finances to do what needs to be done. And I would say the most challenging is to have vision and see and want something for an artist or a person more than they want it for themselves.
Mm,
So when you end up working more or pushing more and the artist isn't even ready, or they say one thing but they do another,
mm,
and they show you with their actions that they really aren't where they say they want to be, or they don't want to do the work.
mm.
So I think that's probably the most challenging thing.
And when you say the work, talk a little bit about what that work is because sometimes people think, I can just sing and people get blessed by my singing, but that's just a minuscule part of what it takes to quote unquote be an artist. Talk about what the work is.
Oh my goodness, the work is so much. One, a lot of times people want to be on a national level and they haven't even scraped the surface for the local. Do have they even went and introduced themselves to the gospel radio announcers in their city? Do the radio announcers even know who they are? So it's about getting out there, getting exposure, putting your name out there, even if it's not singing all the time. If Mama Sue radio anniversary is at the park, you need to be out at the park, even if you weren't invited to sing, showing support, congratulating, networking with some of the powers that be in that city, because you never know who in that audience is going to be there and watching you and decide to put you on their next platform. Or the mayor may be there giving a proclamation to Mama Sue and hear about you and decide to put you on a banquet that they're having. So putting in the work is getting out there, going to events, networking, calling radio stations. Hi, I'm new. You may not have heard of me, um, but I would like to send you my single if you tell me the protocol for it. If you can't afford to hire somebody to do radio, a lot of time radio announcers aren't going to take your calls unless they have somebody reputable that they know that has a good name or reputation calling on your behalf that does that. That's the reason why it's good to hire somebody to do radio promotions or publicity, um, someone that is out there not only just getting you in radio, but trying to get you a TV exposure, looking at your music, looking at what your project is, coming up with not just 3 months, but a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal plan because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon and it's going to take some time and distance. So it's putting in the, when I say putting in the work, you're going, spending your money to go to different conferences, to get exposure, to learn about the business, to network. When the opportunity avails itself, make sure that you're ready for the opportunity. Make sure that you have prepared yourself, that you have a look as an artist. You're not out here with no skimpy clothes or anything that's embarrassing to the people from your hometown. Sometimes artists don't even know what to put on. I'm telling the truth, Mama Sue. So it's, when we say the work, it's a whole gamut. Your look, your way you carry yourself, the people you hang out with, because sometimes you are considered guilty by association by who you're seen with. So it's a whole lot to it.
Ooh, baby, you better know it. And not only that, the investment of your time as well as your dollars, because
Yes.
especially as an independent artist, you got to lift that barge and tow that bale because there
Yep.
is nobody backing you. So you're going to, if you believe in what it is that you've been called to do or share, then that means that you're going to have to invest in yourself. But Tammy, how much would you recommend to a young artist or somebody that's up and coming that they be really invest in the grassroots approach or where they are to putting themselves out there in their hometown and their region?
I say that's where you start, with your grassroots. And then in your area, go and get into gospel music workshop, your chapter in your city. Go into get into the gospel industry network, your affiliation there. Go and join NARIS. Go and join Stellars. Go and join the Dove Awards. Get your memberships in these different organizations and learn and grow and get the knowledge and get the experience. And when you start in your local city, then you may do your surrounding cities. Then, just because you're a part of your GMWA chapter, when they go different fellowship with other chapters, that's an opportunity for you to sing with them. That's an opportunity for those chapters to hear you. And I tell people all the time, you can't eat an elephant all at one time. You do it one bite at a time. So the same
Mm.
concept with getting exposure. If you're in Dallas, do DFW, then do this suburb of Dallas, then go over here and do this suburb. Then once you finish with Dallas, then you go to Houston, and then Houston is massive. So you just take it one city, one event at a time. And once you have saturated that area and you've grown and you've gotten a following, and this is not just, going there, hanging out, going, laughing or talking or going to a restaurant or whatever. This is going, putting in the work. Maybe somebody, you got friends that allow you to come and sing. And a lot of times, sometimes you're singing and you're not even getting paid for it at first. They may allow you to sell your music. And so just having that mindset that even if they don't give me anything, you know, if I can make sure I can cover myself to get there, it's exposure. The next time they're going to call me back, they're going to ask me, what is your rate? Because they're coming asking for you. And so people don't, a lot of times don't think about it like that. That grassroots, that's how they did it with R&B. That's how they broke
Mm-hmm.
artists. They put them in a car and they went on that circuit and they went city to city. So we need to do the same thing.
Wow. I agree. I agree. And sometimes when you're doing that, it doesn't seem like you are getting any traction only because we fall for the lure of what we see on TV and social media, and we think everybody is doing so much more, doing so much better. But you have to work the work. You got to do it, and you got to do it where you are. And it makes sense for you to invest in the grassroots part of it because you don't have to spend any money to go you at home. So
Yep.
do what you can do that's close to you until you can do more.
And build on what you have, like you just said. And don't go out here and quit your job.
Ooh,
Please don't.
Jesus.
Please don't
Wait, I'm
quit your
finna put
job.
you solo on the screen so you can say that to the people. Hallelujah.
Don't go out here and quit your job. And a lot of times it amazes me some of the conversations that I have with especially new artists and newbies and upcoming, and they see one thing and think it's one way, and they really don't realize that even these A-list artists, they have jobs. um, Pastor Donnie McClurkin, he is a pastor. He also has a radio. He also has other things. He has books. Bishop Hezekiah Walker, he owns property. He has a church, several churches. That
Mm,
is his income besides what he does with recording and everything. Pastor Smokey Norfolk, a lot of your artists are either pastors, they are minister of musics, or they got radio shows like Erica Campbell, and her husband is a pastor as well as a producer. So I encourage you, don't think that, especially you got a good job and benefits, keep that. You go do your thing on the weekends or an evening, and you go back to your 9 to 5 and keep your benefits and your money, and you build and grow and you do as you can. If the opportunity is not to say that the opportunity won't come somewhere down the line, and you may have a blessing and God shines on you and say, I'm taking you off the job. Not saying that's not possible, but I just encourage people to be realistic.
mm. Because here's the deal, even if you are, there's only so many bookings you're going to get in the course of a month.
Yep.
And most of the people that are having you to come, especially for gospel music, the platforms are few and far between. The big platforms, a celebration of gospel, a
Right.
stellar happens once a year.
Once a year.
Celebration of gospel, if it still happens, Dove Awards, those kind of things, they happen once a year. What you gonna do the rest of the time?
And the Doves and the Stellars don't pay you to be on the show.
Wait, let me put you on the screen solo so you can say it so the people can hear it. Shout for all the people in the back. Mm-hmm.
They don't pay you to be on the show. And I think that's what people fail to realize. Either the record company pays for them artists to be there, or the artists cover their expenses themselves.
Hallelujah. That's the truth. That is true. Well, we got one question in the chat that I want to put up on the screen from Angela D. Love Jackson. She said, how do you deal with egos on all sides of the table?
Prayer and supplication. because you'd be surprised at some of the egos you encounter. And I'm thankful that I can really say that 95% of the time when you see me, I am consistently the same across the board. That's not to say that I don't get frustrated, I don't get angry. Um, I don't like it when I get angry because she's not too nice. Uh, but you just learn how to deal. And I think the older you get, um, the more patience or whatever kicks in, and it's like, nah, you can go on. God bless you. I ain't got to deal with that. So, yeah, it prayer and supplication.
Ah, that's a good one. That is a good one. Well, listen, we are going to go into some discussion in just 1 minute about this amazing book that Tammy has written. Because, y'all, I saved the best for last. Hold on right after this. Advertise with us and let Mama Sue's family know what you've got going on. Email us at msroscbe2 at gmail.com. Oh, yeah. Listen, if you are just tuning in, you late, but you still great because we got an amazing woman with us on today, Tammy Taylor.
Mama Sue.
Well, you already know she can sing. She is a media mogul. She is a president and CEO of a marketing consulting firm, entertainment consulting firm. She is so many things. She's a event planner. She's just all of these things. But she is also an author. Y'all, Tammy wrote a book. Yes, she did. She wrote a book, y'all. And the title of that book is another one, Bites the Dust.
Yes, ma'am.
Another one bites the dust. Tammy, tell us about the concept behind this book and then we go talk about it.
Well, I knew I had some books in me, Mama Sue. And I was like, okay, I keep saying I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And when I first started, I got overwhelmed by it. And it was just like so many thoughts were hitting me like this. And wasn't sure. So I put it down for a second. And it was just like, okay, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And it's not as easy as people make it seem like it's going to be. So about 6 months later, I woke up from a dream and the Lord gave me the title of the book. And then he gave me the concept. He says, you're trying to put everything in one book. And it's not one book, it's more like 5 books. And so once I got that concept and I started writing down what the books were going to be, and I knew that this one needed to be first because it touches men, women, cultural, whatever. And so that's the reason why we came with this one first. And so this book, Another One Bites the Dust, is my journey with dating and some of the hilarious dates that I have been on, some of the rules of engagement that I put in place because we talked earlier about me moving from Indianapolis, where the bulk of my family is. So I had to put some rules in place to make sure that I stayed safe um, in these days and times, because dating has truly changed over the last 15 years versus when we were in our 20s and 30s. So that's what the concept of the book is. And I had shared a couple of stories sometime on Facebook, and people were laughing. It was just like, Tammy, you have to put this in a book. And so that's what we did. We wanted you to go on that journey with me, visualize some of the guys that I had dates with. Some of them I was looking around for cameras thinking I was being punked. But
Y'all, this is the most hilarious and so real. Y'all, it is so real. Another one bites the dust because Tammy is giving some for real. And here's the catchphrase that she says: I couldn't make it up if I tried. Y'all, some of this stuff really happened to her. Now, it's going to be extra funny because I'm going to let Tammy read one of the excerpts from the book. Do you have your book handy, Tammy?
oh, when you go, I can get one.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Let me
Okay,
tell you about some of the rules of engagement, and then maybe I'll just let her elaborate on it and really
okay.
bring out the part of it. Rule number one: make sure that you use wisdom in where you choose to meet someone for the first time.
Yes, ma'am. No, no meeting at parks, no meeting at isolated places. I always make sure it's a public place where people are going to be. If it's a restaurant, I either valet park or park right in front of the restaurant so that if they decide they want to walk me to my car, there are other people around and I'm not in a blind spot in case they want to do something crazy.
Yeah, because y'all, people is crazy. You hear me what I said? There's
Yes,
some
they are.
crazies out there, and sometimes you can't recognize crazy at the outset.
No, you can't. That's why you do them background checks.
Woo, come on, that's another rule. All right, but here we go. Rule number two: always, always, always have at least one person that knows where you are going on a first date.
Yes, ma'am. I have had that rule since I have been in Nashville. Simply because, my brother, my cousins, in Indianapolis, if something went down, I pick up the phone and call. They can be there in 5 or 10 minutes. Here in Nashville, it's going to take them a few hours to get to me. So, but I always make sure that I have somebody that they know where I'm going on the date. I send them the name of the person I'm going on the date with for the first time, his picture, and I also let them know when I get back in my vehicle and when I get home safely.
Good advice. And then rule number three was kind of in there with the first thing she mentioned about making sure that when you're meeting someone for the first time, that you're strategic with your parking.
Hmm.
And then she said, rule number four: never drink from anything that you did not see prepared or brought to the table in front of you.
Absolutely. Because people will slip something in your drink, or they'll be like, oh, I ordered this for you. Oh, and say, I got you a glass of water. Oh, can I have a glass of water with no ice? So that they'll take it away and bring me something fresh.
Mm, see, that's good. Then rule number five: during the first couple of conversations, get your date to share as much information as possible.
Yes. That goes back to when I said doing them background checks. When they tell me their birthday, that gives me, and they tell me how old they are. So now I know their date of birth. I know their last name. They tell me about, their family. Sometimes they mention siblings. I'm just taking notes as I'm listening and learning, and we're engaging in conversation. The whole time I'm taking notes. When I have enough information, or if it's somebody, I don't do background checks on everybody. Only if I think it's somebody that I'm interested in or it's really piqued my curiosity and it's a possibility that something may grow there, then I will do a full background check. And then I'll call the person up and say, here's his date of birth, here's the city he was born in, he lives here. Sometimes, if I've already met them, I may take a picture of the license plate so that I have that information. And I just gather as much as I can to make it as easy for them doing the background check. And that has saved me a couple of times.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it is. One gentleman, he had several cases of assault on women, and I was just thankful that I found that out.
that you had done your research.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, rule number 6, never believe all that your date tells you.
Yeah, because they tell you what they think you want to hear, so you have to listen and have your discernment to see what are they sharing with you that they're just trying to say to impress you or to make you feel comfortable with them, versus what is reality.
Mm. Pay attention to what your date does not say.
Yes, ma'am. Because he doesn't necessarily, if you ask a question, do you like cats? And he tells you about dogs and fish and cooking and nothing about cats. Why didn't you just answer the question about the cats?
That's good. That's good. Then, rule number 8, pay attention to what your date is driving.
Yeah, I do that for a couple of reasons. One, if if it's our first or second date, I pay attention to when we get in our cars and we leave. I want to make sure you're not following me to see where I live. So if I know that you're in a white truck, a Ford Explorer, and 5 or 10 minutes later I still see this Ford Explorer going the same way I'm going, then I'm going to detour where I'm going and not go home and just go somewhere else. So I always make sure if I can, I look to see what vehicle he's in and make sure that, I'm not being followed because people will just pop up at your house and nobody wants to feel like they're a prisoner in their own house.
Ooh, all right. Then she's got number 9, always listen to your gut.
Your gut will never lead you wrong. If your gut is telling you something is off about this person, listen and follow it.
Mm. Rule number 10, ask the right questions.
I have a friend that taught me that. Um, and I'm just going to say, we were having a conversation and he shared with me, he said, a lot of times women don't ask the right questions. We'll say, are you gay? And the guy's going to tell you, no, he's not gay. He says, whereas the question you should have asked him was, do he like men? Do he like having sex with men? Do he like kissing men? Do he like hanging out or cuddling with men versus is he gay? Because even though he may like men and kiss men, he not necessarily think that he's gay.
Mm.
So he taught me that lesson many years ago. A lot of times we ask the wrong questions. We don't ask the right questions to get the answers that we really want to know.
Ooh, that's a good one. Then she said, rule number 11, never share your home address until you feel comfortable with your date visiting you there.
That's right. From what I said earlier, you don't want to feel a prisoner in your own house. And now that he knows where you are, he just pop up. You may have somebody else at your house, and it
Mm.
becomes an uncomfortable situation.
Ooh. Rule number 12. Here's the good one. Learn and pay attention to your date's patterns.
Yes, ma'am. I am a person that pays attention to people's patterns. If you call me every day consistently, and then out of nowhere you start calling every other day or 2 or 3 times a week now, or then it goes to once a week, or I notice that instead of you calling, I'm now calling. We may have a conversation, but it's no longer you calling. They're telling you by their actions that either somebody else has their attention or they have decided that they're not interested.
Because I underlined that in the book because she said, If the only time he has to talk to you is when he's at work and not weekends or evening, then bum 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 bum, what? He's married.
He's married, or he's if yeah, definitely if you only hear from him at work, 9 times out of 10 he's married or he's living with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And if he only calls you late at night, what you doing? He's only
Mm.
interested in
We
yeah,
know what that is. We know
yeah.
what we call that.
Hmm.
Okay. Then number 13, don't be afraid to look into your date's past.
Yeah, because you can learn, it's not a thing of trying to harbor a stick on their past, but, their past can give you some insight to who they are now, or who they've grown into be, as well as their family.
Wow. Number 14, always give yourself an out. Talk about how you do that.
um, I strategically, besides always having somebody know where I'm at, I'll have somebody, I'll schedule them to call me in either 15 or 30-minute increments. And either to say, hey, I got a flat tire, I need you to come help me, or hey, I got a problem, can you assist me with it? Or I'll just tell the person, hey, I only have an hour up for this date, and then I've got to go to something else. So I always make sure I have a way out if I'm not enjoying the person or I don't think it's a match.
Ooh. Rule number 15, be true to you.
It starts with you. You got to know who you are, to determine who you want, or who you want to engage with, or who you can consider yourself being with. Because if you don't know who you are, you're not going to be good for anybody else.
I love that. Don't be afraid to bring your date around family and friends.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because they see things that you don't see. You're all googly eyed and excited, and he done said the right things. Y'all have great conversation.
You got
Um, you
butterflies.
got the butterflies, the stomach is fluttering, all of that, and um, you get them in the room with family and friends, and they just having conversations, and they be like, "Mm-mm, my best friend, her discernment is so wicked, it's ridiculous." And a couple of times I was getting upset because I was just like, do you want me with anybody? But her discernment was on point every time. So if it's somebody that I'm really googly eye over, they got to go have a family friend dinner where it's just, no drilling, just casual conversation, maybe talking about a ball game or whatever. And they pick up on stuff that you'd be surprised what they pick up on.
Mm, mm, that's good.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you kind of covered that in Rule 17, where you say if you got raging hormones, you got the butterflies, and you liking them so much. If your chemistry is on 10, take caution.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If your hormones on 10, then you don't necessarily need to put yourself in situations where you're alone, like at his house or at my house, or we gonna hang out. Well, we probably just gonna take a walk at the park, or we may go bowling, or we may go do something with a family activity like Easter dinner or something like that.
Mm. Then here's another one for all of us AI people. Make sure you use a passcode on your cell phone, and do not use facial recognition or your thumbprint to open your cell phone.
Yes, ma'am. Because just say you fall asleep and he picks up your phone, puts it up to your face, it opens your phone. He could just go through your phone. And these days we keep more than just contact information in our phones. So, I'm always cautious of stuff like that. So I've never done the thumbprint. I don't do the facial recognition just for those reasons. And it don't necessarily even have to be for a date. That could be somebody you may have cousin Pootie. Cousin Pootie steals from everybody. And cousin Pootie come around and you sleeping. He's like, oh shit, here's her cash out. Let me send me $50 off of her cash out. Then you jacked. Because all he
Mm,
had to do was put it up to your face.
good advice. Good advice. And the last one, watch your exceptions to the rules.
We as women a lot of times will do that. If we say we don't want somebody that smoke, and this guy is dapper with his suits, good smelling, got a good job, but he smokes. So we may say, well, I think I can deal with that. And then you say you don't want somebody with kids. Then you find out he got four of them and they under 13. And next thing you know, all the things that you said you didn't want, you make the exceptions for them. And it's not to say you can't, you know, um, make realistic exceptions. You know what I'm saying, Mama Sue?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But always breaking your rules of thumb, you end up being with somebody that you end up resenting, or you're miserable and uncomfortable because it really wasn't what you wanted, but you was ready to have somebody, so you said, okay, I can take this and deal with it, when you know realistically you can't.
And so that's called settling.
Yes, absolutely.
That's called settling. Oh, these are excellent. Well, y'all, we're about at the end of our time, but I got to introduce you to one of the characters, the funniest one to me. Now, there's a whole lot of them in her book, but one of the funniest ones in the book is Mr. Buffet.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna read you the excerpt and y'all pay attention because it is hilarious. Mr. Buffet. I've always been attracted to muscular and physically fit men. However, I didn't want to be judgmental against men that weren't. As a result, I tried to be open minded when one would send me a message. Heavy D, aka Mr. Buffet, seemed to be a nice guy and we had decent conversation. So we agreed to meet. We met at Centennial Park, and he didn't want to walk around, so we found a place to sit and talk. That one conversation with him at the park made me come to my decision quickly. I couldn't date him. All he was interested in was going to buffets. He loved to eat and told me how he went to buffets almost every day. The majority of the conversation was about the foods he loved to eat. He was not concerned about his weight or his health. I shared with him about my weight loss journey, and I wasn't trying to go food binging with him. He wasn't interested in working out or in any he wasn't interested in working out in any manner. So I knew that hanging around him could be a negative impact. Thus, I willingly allowed him to bite the dust. I'm gonna let her snort on that because it is so funny, y'all. She has so many character types in here. Tammy, which one do you think is the most hilarious?
Oh, blue screen.
Yeah.
Blue screen.
Blue screen. Well, listen, there are so many. I need you all to go and get the book. Go get the book. Another one bites the dust. And it is available. You can get it at www. I'm going to let Tammy tell you where to get it from. Where can they get it, Tammy?
You can get it from www.anotherOneBiteTheDust.com. It doesn't have an S on bites. But another one, bitethedust.com. It is also on every ebook platform, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, wherever ebooks are sold, you can find it.
So this is the cover. If y'all miss seeing what it is or remembering what it was, just go back through this replay because it'll be online somewhere, Facebook or YouTube, and you can see it again and again. And before we close, I gotta tell you that this amazing woman is up for a Praise Factor Award. Congratulations, Tammy.
Thank you so much, Mama Sue.
You are up for PR Marketing Company of the Year. That's category 32. And also for Publicist of the Year because of all of the wonderful things that you do through one entity. So I want you all, Mama Sue's family, those of you that are watching, to go to the Praise Factor Awards site. Just put in Praise Factor Awards and you can go to their site and then go to the voting area. You can vote 3 times every day until
Yes.
April the 12th. So, April, we're just into April. This is the first day. We got 11 more days. So, go in and vote for Tammy. Let's make a difference. Vote and encourage your family and friends to share and vote. And we just want to see Tammy get that Praise Factor Award because she deserves it.
Thank you, Mama Sue. We're excited. We're happy that we were even nominated. We're thankful for the nomination, and if we win, praise God, and if we didn't, it's great to be thought about.
Well, it is. It's always nice to know that the work that you're doing is gaining some traction and some notice, and people see you and recognize that you're operating in excellence. And so we encourage you all to go out there, follow Tammy, and thank you so much for being a part of Moments with Mama Sue on tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so excited to be here and to say that you thought enough of me to have me celebrate your 4 year anniversary. I pray that God's blessings continue to bless your ministry and that He gives you many, 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 many more anniversaries with Mama Sue, moments with Mama Sue.
Thank you. Well, hang out with me backstage. I'm gonna rap, and then I want to say one more thing to you before I let you go to go to the other part of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Indeed. But thank you all so much for being here on this first episode. And I got good news. You all tune in on the next episode because I'm going to have a giveaway. And one of those giveaways is going to be da, 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 a copy of Tammy's book. All right. So you all tune in. The next Moments with Mama Sue will be on tax day, April the 15th on tax day. But there'll be some good things happening. And my very, very special guest for that episode is going to be the maestro himself, Mr. Jeffrey LaValle, composer,
Ooh.
songwriter, maestro. We're going to get a chance to hear him play a little bit. He is phenomenal. He is excellent. He is wonderful. So I ask you all to hang with me and be sure that you tell everybody you know about tuning in so they can be a part of that. And then I need you all, if you're watching, to go to Moments with Mama Sue. I want y'all to go over to my website and become a part of Mama Sue's family. Make sure you're connected. www.sueroseberry.com. There is a Mama Sue's family subscription over there for some things that we're going to be doing that you want to be a part of. And I don't want you to miss it. I want to thank all of those family members who have already signed up. I am so honored and so blessed that there are those who are willing to take this journey with me and support what I'm doing with their prayers and their finance. It just blesses me beyond what I can even say. But I encourage you, we have a place that's going to be called our own. We're going to be sharing some things. Y'all see it up there on my website. If you go all the way over, Mama's Family is on there. There's newsletters, there'll be sneak peeks, there'll be behind the scenes photos, all kinds of stuff that we just get to share as a family that I don't get to do with the public at large. But I invite you to join me on this journey, and I appreciate you so much for everything that you do, and especially your prayers and being a part of this platform. Because listen, if you had not been here, it would not have been possible for me to do any of the things that I've been able to do for these 4 years. I'm looking forward to what the future has to offer, and I look forward to seeing you on the 15th on Moments with Mama Sue. Woo! Now that's what I call a great show. Woo! We out of here. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Ah, now we can do it a little better than that. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Oh, well, all right, come on with it. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Yeah! Oh. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Oh, wait. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Moments with Mama Sue. Moments with Mama Sue. Never know what to expect. Hey! Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Ow! Moments with Mama Sue. Ow! Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Yeah! Moments with Mama Sue. Can't you? Moments with Mama Sue. Moments! Oh! Well, now we might be done a little bit too much. Moments with Mama. Sing it.